Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only, but if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at the SPY, y'all, and as you can see, we closed at 599.14, and seems like we've been just trading sideways just a little bit. So I always say, where are the trouble places, right? Looks like we've got rejected here at this $600.38. Support is somewhere around this level of $599.50. So that's kind of like the zone that we're trading in as of now. So back to the upside, trouble places possibly beyond the $600.14. $600.38 breaking that brings us back to around the $600.98. Should we break that 601.40 is a possible or could be a possible rejection area, right? So breaking that 601.77 again, 602.07, as you can see here, there's a few layers of support at that 602 area, 602.07, all the way up to, let's say, around the 602.49. So we could very well get stopped out in any of those areas, breaking that level, 602.74, and somewhere around the 602.86. Should we break that, we could possibly have trouble again at 603.26. So those are possible rejection areas for the SPY as of now. Now back to the downside, under 599.50, we could very well, I'm going to use this 20 EMA as of now around the 599.33. So that's not far from the 599.50 area, but should we break that, we could very well come back to 598.98. Breaking that brings us back to around, I'm going to use again this 50 EMA, 598.53. Breaking that brings us back to this level of support around 598.29. Breaking that, you see the ATR trailing stop, 597.97. In my opinion, that's going to be a strong support area. And if we break that, we could very well come back to this 597.63 area. Breaking that brings us back to around, let's say, 597.31. Under that, we can come back to this level here of 596.71. Now we break that 596.71, as you can see, we have a few layers here, but we could very well come back to this 200 EMA, which is around the 595.99 area. So if you are trading the SPY today, I say trade carefully. Y'all know I say it so often, in this market anything is possible, nothing is guaranteed. And I do apologize if my charts are moving a little bit slower today. I am in a different location, so let's hope that Tesla is going to load for us today. And Tesla is interesting. When I looked at it pre-market, it seemed as if, we were down, and yes, we are still kind of like in that same place, right? We closed at 295.14, but as you can see, we had a pre-market low this morning at 285.50, and it traded sideways just a little bit, only to try to come back up. Got rejected at this 50 EMA, which is right at that 294.95, right at an area that I kind of knew we could possibly have trouble, right? Y'all, that's why it's so important that we mark our support and our resistance. So where are the trouble places for Tesla as of right now? It looks like our support is right here at this level of 289.73. Resistance we could use at this area here of 294.95. So we're actually trading in that zone. Back to the upside, we would need to break back above 296.03. Should we break that, 296.77, which is not far away at the 297.59. So Tesla has a few areas of resistance at this 297 area. Now, should we break that, we could very well come back around the 299.75. Breaking that brings us back to 301.12, and if we should break that, 302.46 could be a rejection area. Should we break that, 304.29. Now breaking that 304.29, I have 305.54, and again here at 307.04. So those are possible rejection areas for Tesla as of right now. However, we could very well break that this area here of 306.75, breaking at 305.64, 306.75, then 308.47 is going to could be a possible rejection area. What's interesting is if we come back up to this 312 area to get rejected. So if we should break through those areas, we could very well come back to, this area here. I was going to say here at 308.47, then 311.28, and back here at the 312.57. So those are rejection areas for Tesla as of right now. But y'all see there's there's a few layers of support to the, to the downside. We have a lot, and I wanted to make that a little bit bigger so that we can see that. But as we see here, Tesla is around that 289.73, which is our, our support area here. Breaking that brings us back to this level, 288.81. Should we break that, we could very well come back to around the 288.20. Should we break that level, 287.35 could be a support place for Tesla. Now breaking that brings us back to our gathering spot where price has been gathering in this area here at the 286.50. Now breaking that 286.50 will be interesting, right? Because the next level down here at 285.56, and then the 285.50 area that was holding us up previously. Now breaking that brings us back to around 284.99. So let's say under that 285 for Tesla today, we could have some issues, right? So again, not financial advice. Breaking that level brings us back to around 284. 284.35, and if we break that, 283.69, 283.11, breaking that, 282.15, and if we should break that, 280.84. So if you are trading Tesla today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. And I say again, y'all, not financial advice. And in this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. And I do apologize again that it's taken a little bit longer for my charts to load. Again, I am in a different location today. Now, I will go ahead and say that I normally look at support and resistance on a much smaller scale. Why? Because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are. So we are looking at NVDA. We closed at 141.72. It looks as if NVDA is an inside day candle. I like to see those. Now, where are the trouble places? We broke out of a gathering spot, bounced and moved. It seems like we are moving back to the upside. That 143.26 was the trigger to the upside target of 144. Now, again, where are the trouble places for NVIDIA? We will need to stay above this 143.32 area. We had something stopped us out here at this 143.55. So we know that could be a rejection area for us. Our target was the 144 for the inside day. Breaking that brings us back to 144.17. Should we break that, we could very well have trouble again, 144.65. Breaking the 144.65 area, 145.02 could be a rejection area for us. And if we should break that level, 145.39, and again here at 145.80. So if you are trading NVIDIA today, those are possible areas to the upside that we could get rejected, or resistance areas. Now back to the downside, under the 143.26, we could very well come back to 142.90. Again here at the 142.42, it was a resistance area. It is now a support place for us, right? So under this 142.42 area, we could very well come back to 142.08, which is where our ATR trailing stop is forming as of right now. Should we break this area, 141.88 could be a rejection area or a support place for us. Breaking that brings us back to around the 140, let's say 141.86. Breaking that brings us back to around 141.64. Should we break that, we could possibly find support here, 141.50. If we should break that area, we could very well come back to 141.17, and again here at 140.92. Breaking that 140.92 brings us back to the 200 EMA. We could use that as a support place, 140.81, not far away, right? And then we have another layer of 140.68. So that 140.92, 140.81, let me make sure I got that. Yes, 140.92, yes, 140.81, and here at 140.68, that's going to be an area of support for NVIDIA. Breaking that brings us back to 140.38, losing that area, 140.08, and down here at 139.72. Now breaking this level here of, let's see, 139.29, we have a downside target for NVIDIA today at 138.78. So if NVIDIA is something that you trade, I say so often, y'all, trade carefully. In this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed, right? So we are looking at AMD. We closed at 116.19. And as you can see, we broke out of a gathering spot, moved up, broke out of another gathering spot, only to go back to the upside. But you see we got rejected here at this 118.73. I had the level of 118.66, not very far away, right? So where are the possible trouble places for AMD? Let's say back to the upside, we would need to get back above this level 1866. If we should break that, we could possibly again have trouble 118.73, breaking that level 119.03 and breaking that 119.37. Now if we break that 119.37, keep in mind anything can stop us out from there to the 120.03, which could possibly be a rejection area for us. Breaking that brings us back to 120.68. And if we should break that area, just know that there's a few layers of resistance: 120.91, 121.12, 121.46. Those are possible rejection areas for AMD as of now. Now back to the downside, what's holding us up now is this 118.25. Breaking that brings us back to around the 117.89. If we should break that 117.59, that ATR trail and stop is forming at an area of the 20 EMA and a previous support place or resistance area around that 117.38. So breaking under that 117.38 for AMD, we could very well come back to around the 117.09 or the 117.10 and find support. Breaking that brings us back to 116.86. And if we should lose that area somewhere around the 116.58, we can find support again. What's interesting is seeing this 200 EMA right here at the 116.38 and the 116.32 is a level that I have marked as a support place. So breaking this area here of the 116, around the 116.50 area, we could definitely come back to around 116.32, breaking that 115.79, 115.39, 115.20. And again here at the 114.83. Again, y'all, I look at support and resistance on a much smaller scale because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible, trouble places are. And I say possible, y'all, because anything is possible in the market, right? Just when we think it's going to do something, it kind of shows us the opposite. So just be careful. I say trade carefully, right? So we are looking at Meta. We closed at 697.71, and it too is trading in a gathering spot for us. So is it setting up for something strong move up or strong move down? We just need to trade carefully, right? Trouble place as of right now, we have support around the 698.27, resistance, we could use the top here 699.51, which is not very far away. I'm going to mark this level here. So this is the zone that we are trading in as of now. We can say that our support area could be this 5 EMA or the 20 EMA, because all of this could very well be our strength to hold us up. However, breaking that, let's go back to the upside first. So back to the upside, 699.51. Should we break that, $700.99, and the next level I have marked is 703.51. However, anything can stop us out in between this area. Breaking that 703.51, we could very well have trouble 705.50. And if we break that 705.50 for Meta, as you can see, the next level I have is 711.27. However, y'all know we could very well get stopped out anywhere in between this area. So I say trade carefully if that is something that you trade today. Now back to the downside. Let's say we break under the 699.30 or 696.73. Yeah, I had to say that a few times. 696.73. Breaking that, 695.99. Breaking that brings us back to 694.63, 694.21, 692.34. 690.80, and if we should break that level, 688.16. Breaking that brings us back to around the 685.28, and it should we break that, y'all see that 200 EMA is right at a level that we have marked here at the 684.03. So if Meta is something that you trade today, I say trade carefully, y'all. We did have a few inside day candles, and I do apologize because I'm in a different place today. My charts may take a little bit longer to load for those, so we may have to skip the inside. Well, we do have Carnival Cruise Lines, and as you can see, CCL has already broken through the trigger of $24.33. The target was $24.40. We made $24.50 pre-market high thus far. Now back to the downside. Let's say we break under this $24.01 for CCL. Downside target is $23.67. So CCL is an inside day candle for today. And again, I like to look at those because it kind of helps build our watch list and it gives us possible targets. Now, Disney is another DIS, is an inside day candle above 114.23. We have an upside target 114.35. Now to the downside under 113.19. Downside target for Disney today 111.81. Yes, so if you're trading Disney, those are possible targets to the upside and to the downside. Again, y'all, not financial advice. Now, this is what I see, y'all, when I look at the market. There's so many different ways to trade the market, and I say that often. What's challenging at times is trying to figure out what strategy works best for you and for us to have the discipline to execute that plan or execute the plan, y'all. So make sure you set your stop losses or whatever it is that you choose to use. Make sure you have the discipline to get out when it's time to get out and get in when it's time to get in. So again, I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very, very productive day today. If you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Y'all, we learn and we grow together. So until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.